Ira.
Are we created on the image of God? In what way?
Yeah, we need to talk about that a little bit too, don't we? So let's look at God's highest creation, which, believe it or not, is not the universe. It's your soul. So let's look at the highest creation, the human soul. Now that human soul was made in the image of God, in the sense that God is soul, right? But not in the. It doesn't have the same capabilities, characteristics as God's soul, in the sense of that it's infinite in its nature. God created us, human souls, to be finite in nature. So God's soul infinite, ours finite. God's love infinite, our love finite. God's kindness, compassion infinite, my kindness finite. God's power infinite, my power finite, like limited. Now, the only way I can grow from becoming a finite and limited being to become more infinite is by receiving a part of God's nature, receiving things from God. Love being the very first thing that I would need to receive. So God has designed our soul to be finite, but He's given it the capacity to grow beyond the finite capacity He created it with. But only if we choose to receive some of His infinite qualities. So the human soul, a finite creation, and without God would remain so. It would remain finite, right? But it's being created in God's image in the sense that it has many of the qualities and attributes of God's soul. And the reason why God created it like that is so that God could share some of those infinite attributes with the finite human, the limited human. And that means that we don't really know what the human soul is capable of once it starts receiving God's love. And there's, even to this day, nobody really knows how much of that love can be received and what that means for our future, right? Of course, every celestial spirit in the spirit world knows how happy it is and how blissful it makes you and how much joy you experience, but they don't understand how much bigger they can get. They can only do that through experience.